ACM was right. During the Constitutional Convention, Malcolm Turnbull, as leader of the Republicans, was worried very much about one thing, and that was that ACM would use its numbers to bring up not the Turnbull-Keating model, but the McGarvie model, which is called the least worst model, because some constitutional monarchists argued that it was not too dissimilar to the constitutional monarchy, consisted of a council of elders and former Chief Justice and governors to replace the Queen. Some people actually supported. Eric Betts thought it was a very good model and would do as the replacement to the existing system. However, when it went to Australians for Constitutional Monarchy, we were the largest group. We had over 72% of the vote, the Constitutional Monarchist vote. There were 5 other small groups. We were unanimous in rejecting it. And the smaller Constitutional Monarchist groups, there were 5 of them, they decided to support us. We went ahead and we did not support that. We decided to stay with opposing any Republican model. When Archbishop George Pell, as he then was persuaded to move the motion for the approval of the Keating-Turnbull model, he said this: "Yesterday the monarchists voted with discipline, integrity and honour. Lloyd Waddy was the very model of a modern Major General. They did not vote tactically. Their virtue brought its own reward. Republican disarray yesterday was our own doing. The Republicans know well that to divide is to rule, even when the division is self-inflicted." Was ACM right?
Well, David, you might remember that I was one of those people who thought that the McGarvie model was the least bad Republican option, and that the responsible thing to do was to vote for the least bad Republican option as the alternative to the existing arrangements that have worked very well. So I was one of the errant monarchists on that occasion. It was one of the rare occasions when I had a difference of political judgment with John Howard. Howard, as you might remember, was very much of the view that the Republican model should be the one that the majority of Republicans wanted to see pitted against our existing system. And with the wisdom of hindsight, John was right and you were right, and I was wrong.
Yes, so you might remember that John Howard, when the Keating-Turnbull model emerged, it only had a plurality. In other words, it was the dominant model, but it didn't get 50%. And the instructions to the convention were to produce a model with 50% support. And John Howard, at the last meeting, as he closed the convention, announced that even though it hadn't reached that it would be put. And the Republicans gave him a standing ovation. Well, later on they blamed him and said he caused the problem.
Of course. But it was important that the convention provide us with a path forward. And had John not changed the rules, as it were, to accommodate, he changed the letter of the law to accommodate the spirit of the law, and by so doing he gave the convention an outcome that could reasonably go to the people. Without that act of statecraft by John Howard, we wouldn't have been any further towards resolving the issue. And the great thing about the subsequent referendum was that despite the overwhelming media position, and indeed the overwhelming, if you like, official position that we should change, the common sense of the public prevailed 55% to 45%. And that doesn't mean that change can't come, but it has meant that this issue has been settled for close to a generation, and I certainly hope that it stays settled, at least for my time.
Well, it looks like that, doesn't it?